Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, Focus on Marriage and Family. My name is Sylvia Jambi, for those who are watching me for the first time. And this channel focuses on issues surrounding young marriages and the family unit as a whole. Just to critically look at what are these issues that are ailing young marriages and why is it that young marriages are failing and how can we restore hope to the marriage institution. Now, if you have not subscribed to the channel, please do so just so that you do not miss any of the topics that we discuss here every week. If you can remember well, last week we discussed temperaments and I took you through the 4 temperaments, the sanguines, the melancholics, the cholerics and the phlegmatics. I also took you through the strengths and the weaknesses of each of these temperaments, and I also took you through what it means to be married to each of the temperaments. Now, I hope you can remember a thing or two from that, because this week we will be discussing the innate needs. We'll be discussing the needs of each of the temperaments and what is it that you need to give your partner. What is it that they crave? What is it that they need? And what is it that you need to give them? Because most of the times we are loving the wrong way. Most of the times what we are doing, we are giving our partners what they don't need. We are giving them probably what we would want to be given, and that's not what they need. So number 1, you need to understand your partner's temperament, and number 2, you need to understand the needs of each temperament, just so that you're able to give them what they need. And this is just not in marriages, even at work, even with your colleagues and with the people that are around you. You need to be at a place where you understand what their needs are, so that as you speak to them, you're giving them what they need. Now, let me just interest you. There's actually a verse in the Bible that speaks about temperaments, or rather that can offer us guidance when it comes to temperaments. And this is in Ephesians 4:29. And Paul speaks to us and he says, "Do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only what is helpful in building others according to their needs, so that it may benefit those who listen." And the key word here is so that it may benefit those who listen. This means that every time we utter words to our partners at home, and even our colleagues at work and those that are around us, we need to be at a place where we are speaking to build others and not to destroy. And so today I wanted us to discuss the innate needs, just so that we can see what is it that, what is it that your temperament needs. Now, I'll begin with the sanguines. And the sanguines, we said, are the people who speak the language of people and fun, and they are the yellows. And their 4 innate needs are approval, acceptance, affection, and attention. So it means if you're married to a sanguine husband or a sanguine wife, it means you need to be giving them these 4 needs. And for example, if you're married to a sanguine husband, you need to be at a place where, you know that you didn't marry him to change him. Because what happens with the wives who are married to sanguines, most of the time they will try to change their sanguine husbands. You met him when he had that sparkle. You met him when he was very outgoing. You met him when he used to, he loves fun and he loves people. Do not try and dull the sparkle in your husband just because you want him to be in a certain way or behave in a certain way. Sanguines just want approval and acceptance. And for as long as you're giving them that, especially for the men, then you're good to go, And for the women, if you're married to a sanguine wife, I want you to know that you cannot ignore her. She wants that eye contact. She craves it. She wants you to look her in the eyes as she speaks. She wants you to, she doesn't want you being on your phone when she's giving you her many stories. She wants you to just, she wants you to appreciate her. She wants you to tell her that she looks nice, that she's done her hair and you think it looks nice. Sanguines love attention. And if you're not giving them that attention, then they're going to crave it and they're going to want it. And we do not want them to go out there and get the attention and the affection elsewhere. That is why you must be at a place where you're giving your sanguine husband or your sanguine wife these 4 things: acceptance, approval, affection, and attention. Now, let me just move on to the cholerics. And we said that the cholerics are the reds and they speak the language of power and control. And they have 4 innate needs as well. And this is loyalty, sense of control, credit for work, and appreciation. Now, I want to speak from experience because I'm a choleric sanguine. I'm actually a 50-50 choleric sanguine. So I'm 50% choleric and I'm 50% sanguine. Some people think I'm sanguine while others think I'm a choleric. But I'm actually both, and it's 50-50. Now, as a choleric wife, I have, there are some things I will need the credit for work and I will need appreciation. My husband Davis has a habit of always complimenting me, especially when it comes to food. Every time I cook, he will eat and he will eat to the last bite. And when he finishes his food, he will always just say how the food was so good, and he'll always just, sometimes he'll even drop a text just because, you know, he's eaten his packed lunch, and he'll drop a text and he'll be like, babe, I appreciate what you do. I appreciate that you cook this food, and it was so yummy, and I appreciate that you pack the food for me. And for me, you know what that does for me? It makes me want to cook tomorrow. It makes me want to wake up at 5 a.m. even if I'm not going anywhere at that particular time, to pack for him his food, just because I'm appreciated, just because I'm given credit for my work. Cholerics love to be appreciated. So if you're married to a choleric wife and all you're doing is eating her yummy food and you're never ever complimenting her, you're in for some trouble. She might make you eat the house help's food for the rest of the year. Now, when we look at, let's say, for the choleric husbands, the other thing they will crave is a sense of control. A choleric husband does not want to feel that he has lost charge, that he's not in charge. A choleric husband always wants to feel he's in charge. And that is why we see, I don't know if you've noticed that, you know, when you're dealing with a choleric husband, they're always very assertive, and they just want to force issues on you guys. You know, they can be very bossy, and sometimes it can just be quite annoying. And you know what? It's because most of the time they are craving to just feel in charge. So if you're a wife and all you do is just intimidate him and show him the way he's not in control, then you're doing it the wrong way. If you do not agree with your choleric husband, the only way to get through to him is through patience, kindness, and love. Those three things. And whenever a choleric is approached using patience, kindness, and love, they will always listen, even if you're correcting them. For as long as you're using patience, kindness, and love, they will always listen to you. So you know how to deal with your choleric husband. He will crave that loyalty, he will crave that sense of control. And of course, for the wife, she's going to crave that credit for work and the appreciation. Now, when we look at the phlegmatics, for example, if you're married to a phlegmatic husband as well as a wife, the four things, or rather the four innate needs of a phlegmatic are harmony, lack of stress, respect, and feeling of worth. Now, your phlegmatic husband does not want to come home to yelling, to nagging, and to a lot of pressure. I mean, he already had the pressure at work. He just wants to come, put his feet up, and just be that slow, you know, that slow guy who goes, takes the shower for an hour. He wants to play with the children. He does not want your stress and your pressure, basically. So if you're doing that as a wife, if you're doing all the nagging when your phlegmatic husband comes home, you're doing it wrong, right? And if you're married to a phlegmatic wife, have you just wondered why your phlegmatic wife gets slower and slower the more you're reminding her about the urgency of anything? I mean, you're yelling from downstairs and you're telling your phlegmatic wife just that you're late for church and she needs to come downstairs, and you're yelling and you're just being bossy, and she's wondering what is wrong with this guy, and she's just gonna get slower and slower and more sluggish. And if you guys got to church this Sunday at 8 a.m., next week she's gonna do an 8:30, pull an 8:40 on you, and you're wondering what's happening. It's because phlegmatics do not thrive in conditions where, you know, they're being given pressure, or where they're being made to feel like, you know, like they're being disrespected, or like they are not worth, you know. So all your phlegmatic wife wants is for you to just come to her with a lot of patience, kindness, and love again, and just air that issue out. Now, let's look at the melancholics, our guys who are perfect and orderly. Now, the four innate needs of a melancholic are sensitivity, safety, support, and space and silence. These are the four things that they need or crave. I love this temperament, and I think I love this temperament because my husband Davis is a melancholic. Now, you can imagine, you know, a choleric sanguine and a melancholic phlegmatic. We are a total opposite. But let me just use like a real life example, just so that you may understand where I'm coming from. Now, if you're married to a melancholic husband, they need or require space and silence. And can you imagine me giving someone space and silence? It's probably almost impossible, but it was so hard for me to just understand that sometimes he doesn't want me to be on his case, even when we are arguing, just trying to get information out of him. Anytime we would argue, I would expect that he would give me feedback immediately. I would expect that he would tell me what's on his mind. And I just forgot that he's a melancholic, that he's very analytical, and maybe he's gonna have feedback for me tomorrow. And so most of the time he would just keep quiet, and sometimes he would just turn and sleep. And I'd wonder, what's wrong with this guy? Like, this is so disrespectful. What is this? But you know what? Melancholics just want their space and silence. Sometimes they just don't even want to go anywhere. They just want to sit at home and just chill. They do not want to go, you sanguine wife, you just want to take him out there, and sometimes all he wants is to just relax and be on his own. Now, they require that space and silence, right? And they definitely require you. Sorry, they definitely require your support. They require your support. So a melancholic husband may not say it, but he wants you to support his projects. He wants you to support whatever he's doing at work. He wants you to support him. And most of the times he's not gonna say it, but you must show your melancholic husband support. If you're married to a melancholic wife, and you are the guy who will go out and not remember to even text her, you don't remember to even tell her where you are, you're in for some trouble, because your melancholic wife feels safer when you're giving her details. She feels safer when you're telling her, babe, I'm gonna be late, and in case of any emergencies, in case my phone goes off, I'm going to be with James, and you can actually call me on his number. And so those are some of the things that your melancholic wife may be craving. And if you're coming home at 3 a.m. and your phone went off at 7 a.m., she's been trying to call you and she can't reach you, and you're wondering why is she so angry? I mean, what is the big deal about me coming at 3 a.m.? Sometimes the issue is not you coming at 3 a.m. The issue is that you did not give her details. She feels unsafe with you, and you're not being sensitive to her. So offering her safety and sensitivity, especially emotional safety, these are some of the things that a melancholic wife is going to crave. So those are the innate needs of each of the 4 temperaments. I hope you've been able to grasp a thing or two, and I hope you'll be able to use something you've learned today in your marriage. Remember, we are restoring hope to marriages. We have not given up, and we will keep restoring hope. We'll keep reminding people that marriages work. And for as long as we are making effort, then I think that we are going to make a step forward. Now, next week, I want us to discuss, I've been dying to speak about this. I've been dying to tackle this topic. And I want us to look at the roles of the man and the woman in a marriage. I mean, the Bible is very clear. It tells us that we need to submit as women and to respect our husbands. And for the men, it tells us that the men are supposed to provide and to love us. But is that happening today? Why has today's woman completely refused to submit? What is it, women? And I actually want you to just, if you want to inbox me, if you want to comment on my thread, if you have any insights on this issue, you can go ahead and do that, even as we discuss this next week, because I want to look at, what is the most challenging thing when it comes to providing? Why is today's man thinking that he can provide and then, go ahead and cheat left, right, and center just because he's providing? And is provision just about money? What is entailed when it comes to provision? And what is entailed when it comes to submitting? How are you supposed to submit as a woman? What does it mean to submit? So join me next week. Make sure you tell a friend to join us next week. And also, if you've not subscribed again, I want to remind you to subscribe to the channel and like this video and share it widely. Thank you for watching, and until next week, bye.